The skeletal system is the hard tissue of our body. It keeps us upright. It protects and supports the body, and so it protects the organs. If you have no rib cage, you've got very vulnerable lungs, and the lungs do not be more vulnerable than they already are. That tissue is like sponge-like, very, very soft. Support talks about the upright, our legs, or if there's no bones, you just a block. You need levers that then the muscles can pull on, a framework that then creates movement. So we walk around. We have some bones that carry tissue that makes all blood types. Red blood cells and white blood cells as well, with platelets. So we have a red bone marrow, they call that. We have a mineral storage. The calcium is inside the bones. It's the hard element that makes the bones hard and sturdy, that we can stand up. But we also need the calcium inside the blood, and we need quite narrow levels inside the blood of calcium, because we use that calcium for a lot of functions in the body. For example, if we want to contract a muscle, we cannot do that without calcium present, because calcium has to hook on to another element that then moves, so actually the muscle can move. If we do not have calcium in the blood, the nerve transmission from one nerve to the next nerve, for example, cannot take place. So it is wonderful that we have this system that can store so much. However, have you ever heard of osteoporosis? As we get older, we lose enough of this calcium that the bones become brittle. And so all of a sudden you have somebody stepping off a curb, or a little bit of a step that's a little harder, and they break the bone right here. And osteoporosis is known as a juvenile disease with an adult onset. What does that mean? Juvenile means it starts when you're young. It starts creating when you're a youngster, and you get the problems when you're old. Shoot. So you make it when you don't care about anything, and you get it when you get older. So what creates that? When we are juveniles, we're building up the bone. If we're not building up the bone well, we don't have that much to pull from and get out of when we get older. That's one reason why it afflicts more women than men, because men have bulkier bones. That doesn't mean it's not afflicting them either, but not as frequent. So how can we prevent that? Or what is creating this problem is our lifestyle. Hello, McDonald's. And lazy lifestyle. No more cooking, that's perfect. But sodas, especially with caffeine and bubbles in them, that means Coke, and red meat, are very, very important in that process, because they drain the calcium. So you eat, but the calcium doesn't get absorbed in the body, it just drains out and flushes out. Muscle system. I like the muscles a lot. That helps us manipulate the environment. You can pick up a clip because of muscles. That's pretty nice. I can talk because of muscles. Locomotion means gets us around, moving around, helps us move around. People often forget muscles maintain posture. In my office, I'm grateful for bad posture. It's great for business, because the majority of us are asked in our jobs to do this all day long. So we run a marathon, and nobody recognizes it because it's not here. You don't have to Olympic gold medal anymore. And we are sitting, which is horrible for our body. We're not meant to sit, because who here? When I take a survey, who here doesn't sit like this down here? Who sits like this? After 5-10 minutes, practically no one. Especially if it doesn't hurt. So posture is very important. So what I tell my patients is to help enhance your posture. Whenever you get up from your chair and you go to the toilet, because you have to go pee once in a while, you get up and you feel like somebody's pulling you up in your hair and you stand really straight for that moment. Because I know it for my own self. When I have a pain here, which is often a rib pain, and I'm stabbing pain, people get that, for example. If I'm slouching, it hurts. If I'm standing upright and my muscles hold me up, it doesn't hurt. It's just food for thought. Muscles are great heat creators. I was in Tahoe last weekend. I gambled for 12 hours after skiing. But it was cold outside, and I was like in something like this, and I had to go outside. And the shivering comes in real fast. It works real good. So shivering is when we need to create heat because it's too cold, and we use the muscles to create heat because about 60% of muscle is lost in heat. So it's very inefficient as a system, actually, if you look at how much energy it takes, but we can sure make good use of it when we're too cold. The next system is the nervous system, and the nervous system controls and coordinates all of our body functions, all of what we do. It is a fast-acting control system. We also have a slow-acting control system. That's the endocrine system. And those are our glands. The nervous system controls our body functions through nerves. And nerves are like electrical cables. The hormones also control the body, but they control the body through the blood supply, the bloodstream. So did you ever drive down the freeway and some stupid ass bitch jerk? I was called that once, stupid years. Yeah. I know, huh? Took me one with vinegar and then I was like, okay, now I've got it. Once, okay, then who cares? And somebody just tries to cut you off. And you go like, and you swerve around and you curse and then you're like, okay, oh, I didn't have an accident. And then a minute later, so you start having the coffee break, the coffee jitters. Like, hey, I didn't drink that much. The first reaction you had was this system. Thank God it's fast. The second reaction what you had was this system. So you feel the delay of how it works. This works slower than this system, but unfortunately, as you also recognize when you have that problem with a freak out thing, it stays there for a while. We need the nervous system in order to be able to respond, as that car accident almost thing just shows us, to respond to external changes in our environment, which a car coming towards you at a fast speed is a very fast change. But we also want to respond to the internal changes, of course. So we'll talk about how we do that. It always talks to either a muscle, a gland, or another nerve. That's it. The endocrine system are the glands. We have gland here, the thyroid gland. That people know about that a lot. The adrenals, people know about the adrenal gland. I'm sure you heard of the word the pancreas, as it helps with insulin and balances out blood sugar in the system. And then we got the sexual glands, the gonads also. So glands secrete hormones that regulate processes in the body that usually are slower, like the growth or reproduction or how do we use nutrients. That's a slower process that takes a little bit longer time than that quick, fast reaction we get from the nervous system.